Imagine this scenario. Four bratty college students decide to steal the valuable paintings displayed in their university. They devise a plan, get disguised as old men, and go inside. But things don't go quite as they expected. The story takes place in 2003. Spencer Reinhardt is an aspiring art student. After finishing high school, he applies for an art scholarship at Transylvania University, located in Lexington, Kentucky. The interviewers are impressed with his portfolio and his recommendations. After a brief interview where Spencer tells them about himself and his art, he gets the scholarship. As a college freshman, Spencer takes part in a wild party thrown by the upperclassmen. They jokingly throw cups at him and compel him to drink. Spencer feels underwhelmed by his college experience. It's not what he expected or desired. By the way, guys, this movie is based on a true story and includes interviews with the real people involved, right along the fictional movie story. Real-life Spencer Reinhardt reveals that growing up, he admired famous artists of the past, who at some point in their lives suffered some form of tragedy that shaped them as artists and made them understand the world in their own unique way. He felt like he needed something similar in his life if he was to be a great artist like them. He works on his self-portrait and observes his roommate watching funny videos on the internet. Disappointed in his self-portrait, Spencer tears a hole in it. Spencer calls his friend Warren and goes to meet him. Warren Lipka is a troubled young man who is also a freshman at Transylvania University, except he is on an athletic scholarship. He doesn't care much about studying or sports and only got into college to please his parents. Spencer and Warren meet in an alley behind a restaurant. The real Spencer reminisces on these events and wonders what his life would have been like had he not been influenced by Warren. Warren starts breaking the lock, despite Spencer's objections. Warren is stealing meat, trying to justify it with the fact that a lot of it is thrown away anyway. Spencer is now his involuntary accomplice. They are spotted and have to leave fast. In a rush, Spencer drops a pack of meat. Warren rushes him as the owner of the restaurant comically yells at them. They yell back and run away. Spencer and Warren sit in a car and leave, happy about the successful heist. They fool around while listening to some upbeat rock music. Sometime later, Warren and Spencer drive to a parking lot and observe their fellow students, jocks, and popular kids, drifting in cars and vandalizing shopping carts. Warren is disgusted with them and says he wants to put them out of their misery. Spencer doesn't really get along with them either. He is disappointed as college isn't what he expected it to be. Spencer questions the meaning of his life and wonders if there really is a point to anything. Warren assures him that he knows how he feels. Spencer and the other students are given a tour of the Transylvania University Library. The librarian proudly announces that this library has a collection of rare, unique books, including the first edition of John James Audubon's The Birds of America. Curious about Audubon, Spencer looks at his portrait. He used to live and work right here in Kentucky, which is why the book is here. The students look at the book as the librarian goes on, talking about Audubon's desire to picture every bird in America. When asked by one of the students, she reveals that this book might easily be the most valuable book in existence, as it's not really a book, but rather a compilation of paintings, all originals made by Audubon himself. Fascinated by the picture of a flamingo inside the book, Spencer comes closer and examines it. That's when he gets the idea of stealing the valuable item to sell it afterward. Distracted by the book, he forgets about the tour, so the librarian asks him to join the rest. Later, Spencer tells Warren about his idea. Warren is skeptical. He doesn't believe a book can possibly be worth $12 million. Spencer explains that it's a collection of original paintings worth a lot of money for the right collector. And the best part is, there are no serious security measures except for the sealed room. The library allows anyone to go inside the secure room as long as they make an appointment beforehand. Initially reluctant, Warren passionately agrees to help Spencer plan the heist. Being bored in class, Warren Googles on a college computer about how to plan a heist and reads an article on how to plan the perfect bank robbery. No offense to the real Warren Lipka, but you're about to do something highly illegal, and you do a Google search on how to do it, on a college computer no less, with people around you. Are you trying to get caught? By the way, you've got to appreciate the attention to detail here. An Internet Explorer window on the actual Windows XP, because it's 2003. Spencer works in a supermarket. Warren, being quite a philosopher, questions the modern way of life. Having time to think about it, Spencer is hesitant about the idea of a robbery now. Using his natural charm, Warren convinces him otherwise. Warren says they would need the blueprints of the library to carefully devise a plan. Looking for inspiration, the boys watch some classic heist movies, hoping to get some useful details from them. Following the example of the characters in the movie, Spencer spends some time inside the library, drawing the blueprints of the library while Warren sits in the car outside and watches the library employees as they leave and enter the building, writing down the time of their departure or arrival. One time, Spencer watches students as they go inside the secure room. He follows them and gets inside. Day after day, Spencer makes the elaborate drawings of the library's layout. The blueprints are ready. Warren comes to visit his friend who made him a fake ID earlier. He tries to covertly ask the guy how he can sell the stolen item once they have it. Wanting nothing to do with this himself, he refers Warren to his acquaintance who may be able to help them in the risky endeavor, giving Warren his email. Warren and Spencer write the guy and set up a meeting in New York. It's a long drive, so the boys spend time fantasizing about what they would do with the money. They finally arrive and drive around the city, fascinated by New York. They leave the car and go sightseeing at night, trying to enjoy the experience to the fullest. The next morning, Spencer and Warren stand in the pouring rain, waiting for their meeting. They wait for some time, so Spencer gets anxious, thinking the guy won't show up. And then, suddenly, Warren starts talking to some guy who approached him. He gives the guy $500, and he gives Warren the contact information of the potential buyer. They email the buyer, and he instructs them that he can only do business in person. They would have to meet face-to-face in Amsterdam, Netherlands. Spencer is reluctant to go to the Netherlands to meet some dangerous people he knows nothing about. He wants to bail out again. Warren is getting tired of his lack of motivation. Spencer has dinner with Warren and his family. His parents have a bad fight, after which the mother suddenly announces to Warren that she is divorcing his father. Warren observes his father crying outside and gets angry, probably because his father shamed him for crying as a child. Upset about his parents, Warren gets drunk and almost starts a fight in a bar. Spencer can't go to Amsterdam himself, but he promises to pay for half of the ticket for Warren. They bid farewell, and Warren leaves for his flight. In Amsterdam, Warren goes around the city, enjoying the beautiful scenery. Then he walks inside a suspicious-looking bar, where his unusual appearance causes seedy-looking characters to stare at him as he walks. Warren spots two serious-looking men and figures they're the buyers. He shakes hands with the buyers and awkwardly asks to sit down. They seem reluctant to do business with a scared teenager. Warren gives them a piece of paper with a list of books from the library. A bald guy takes a list and makes a phone call to see if they need it, while the other buyer tries to figure out if Warren is to be taken seriously. A bald guy comes in and confirms that they are interested in the books. The other buyer insists that they would only buy these items with the correct authentication, proving they are the real originals. Warren goes back to the US and happily tells Spencer that they will make millions on this deal. Talking about the plan, they realize they would need to enlist more people to do the heist properly. For once, they need someone who is good with logistics. Eric Borsig is a student at Transylvania University. His major is accounting. Despite his habit of listening to music in class, he is exceptionally good in his studies and impresses the professors with his deep knowledge of the subject. Warren, being his childhood friend, asks him to have a chat later. They meet in a Chinese restaurant later that evening. Eric is surprised to suddenly hear from Warren, as they haven't spoken in a while. Warren tells Eric he has a business proposition for him, the one that will make him rich. They drive to the library and discuss the plan. Eric tells Warren and Spencer that this can only be done during the day, because at night it would be impossible to break in without triggering the alarm. He asks the other two about the location of the cameras and the security guard's routine. Warren takes notes. Eric advises him to stop doing that. There should be no physical evidence of planning the heist. Everything has to be inside their heads. Warren is called into the athletic director's office. He reprimands Warren for missing football practice and warns him to start showing up for games. Otherwise, he will lose the scholarship, and his father will be quite disappointed. In the most unexpected manner, Warren tells the director straight up that he doesn't care. He is disappointed in college and the football team and never wanted it in the first place. The director tells him to get out. The trio discusses the plan. There are no security cameras, but there are motion detectors. So the plan is the three of them inform the library to put Audubon's book on display, pretending to be someone else. Then they go inside the room, tase the librarian, take the books, avoid the motion detectors, get inside the staff elevator going down to the basement, and leave the building through the fire exit. Eric points out that this is not going to work. One of them would have to be outside of the room on a lookout, and they would need a getaway driver in a car outside to drive them away with the books. So they need one more guy for the robbery. Chaz Allen is a fellow student at Transylvania University. The group decided to recruit him because Warren knows him and he has a fast car and would be interested in it for the money. He doesn't take them seriously at first, but as soon as he hears that it's $12 million and it's just one old lady guarding it, he changes his mind rather quickly. Being inspired by the movie Reservoir Dogs, Warren gives everyone in the group a code name. Spencer is Mr. Green, Eric is Mr. Black, Warren is Mr. Yellow, and Chaz is Mr. Pink. Annoyed by his color, Chaz points out that this idea is idiotic because in that movie, the whole point was that the robbers didn't know the real names of the other robbers involved, hence they couldn't give each other up. if arrested. But these four obviously know each other. Nevertheless, they will use these names during the robbery. Warren gives everyone a task. Spencer will find them makeup, wigs, and clothes for the appropriate disguises. Eric will buy the getaway vehicle using the fake ID. Chaz has to figure out the quickest route from the library to the dropout point, and practice driving on that route again and again until it's his second nature. Meanwhile, Warren will make sure to get the proper authentication in New York afterwards. Warren contacted the library to have the book on display on the day everyone has exams, so the library will be almost empty. Plus, it will give them an alibi, because they will attend the exams and leave prematurely for the heist. Spencer got them the old men disguise. It would be believable for old men to be interested in an antique book about birds, and they would avoid attention. On the day of the robbery, Warren and Spencer check all the inventory they would need in the heist. Chaz changes the license plate on the minivan they will use in the heist. Meanwhile, Eric goes to his exam, and so does Spencer. Warren, in disguise, buys a taser gun. When Spencer and Eric are done with their exams, Spencer and Warren get together, and they start putting on the old men disguise. Chaz and Eric put on their disguises in their houses. It's an elaborate process, so they meticulously put on the makeup, wigs, fake beards, mustaches, and then clothes and sunglasses, all in the appropriate order. When they're done, Spencer and Warren wait for the others, nervous about the upcoming heist. They also put on gloves to avoid leaving their fingerprints. Chaz drives a minivan and collects Spencer and Warren from their house. They drive to Eric's house. Spencer is dizzy. He is worried sick about the robbery. Warren, on the other hand, is behaving too casually. He puts on rap music on the radio. Chaz shuts it off and advises the other two to concentrate on the job. By the way, why is Spencer's disguise so obviously fake? It's kind of ironic that he was in charge of disguises and he did a good job with the others. But he himself looks like a stereotypical 19th century old man, not a modern old man. Anyway, once Eric is collected, they drive to the library. They get out of the minivan and are alarmed to see that there are people everywhere, despite it being an exam day. Nevertheless, they stick to the plan and slowly walk toward the entrance, trying to walk like the elderly. Once inside, they split up, each trying to get into his planned position before the actual heist. The disguises seem to work. Nobody gets suspicious about their look. Warren notices that there are 4 women in the secure room, not just one librarian as they expected. So he, in panic, decides to abort the mission. He stops Chaz as he goes upstairs. The rest approach them, curious about what happened. Chaz suggests they wait. They haven't done anything, so they can stay inside as much as they want. The rest oppose it. Spencer, getting sick of the stress he can't handle, leaves the building to get some fresh air. He enjoys the beautiful weather outside, getting a sudden relief that they haven't actually gone through with it. The group drives in a car to their homes. Warren and Chaz, enraged about the failed venture, start arguing, blaming each other. Spencer says they dodged a bullet. Warren gets mad at him and tells Chaz to stop. He goes to a store to buy a drink. Then he uses the payphone to call the library. He gets an appointment for the next day, and this time he claims there will be no one else with appointments in that room. Sometime later, Spencer has dinner with his family, reminiscing about the failed robbery attempt. His mother is concerned about the dreadful expression on his face. He says he's just tired and leaves the table. Spencer goes to Warren's house. He wants out, and this time he is adamant. He leaves and goes for a run, rethinking the recent events. The real-life Spencer reflects on this, saying all of us go through life, expecting something fantastic and amazing will happen to us at some point, turning our life around and making our dreams come true. But the thing is, it doesn't just happen. You make it happen. So, ultimately, Spencer changes his mind again and rejoins the group, but this time they won't use disguises. Spencer will only be on a lookout outside the library. Chaz will be the getaway driver sitting in a car. Warren and Eric will carry the books to the elevator, going downstairs after Warren tases the librarian. The next day, the second attempt begins. Warren, dressed in a suit, confidently walks toward the library. Eric is right behind him. Spencer, on the roof, observes them through the binoculars. Once inside, Eric takes his position downstairs, while Warren gathers his resolve and approaches the secure room. He knocks on the door so the librarian comes up to open it. She is surprised as she expected to see someone much older. He signs the paper she gives him with a fake name and has a nice chat with the old woman, apologizing for ditching his appointment the other day. She turns around and walks toward the book. Warren follows her, nervous about what he has to do. He can't do it, so he calls Eric to come upstairs, saying she's unconscious. He comes up and is surprised to see the librarian sitting at her desk. She lets him inside and asks his name for the log. Warren uses the distraction and tases her, but he fails horribly. She doesn't lose consciousness and starts screaming as Warren tries to calm her down. He starts tying her up and yells at Eric to help him. They tie her hands and her feet and gag her. Eric is terrified of being involved in this mess. He never expected there to be a struggle. They start looking for keys for the stand with Audubon's book, yelling at each other when they can't find them. Warren figures out it's the librarian who has the keys. He rolls her over, finds the keys around her neck, and removes them. They open the stand and start removing precious books worth millions of dollars. But there isn't much time left. Eric rushes Warren to leave now, so they have to abandon the idea of removing all 4 Audubon's books stored inside the stand, taking only 2 of them. They put a few less valuable books in their bags instead. They carry the books through the corridor to the elevator. In the elevator, Eric in a panic pushes the first floor button, not the basement, which enrages Warren. Luckily, no one really pays attention to them on the first floor, so they go to the basement where another problem hits them. It's dark and the exit is nowhere to be seen. Having no other option, they go back to the first floor and start running to the fire escape with the book, while the library employees call the authorities. They drop the books on the stairs and leave them in a panic, realizing they have to run for their lives. Chaz panics and hits the gas. He stops, lets Eric inside, and then unintentionally runs over Warren, who unexpectedly ran right in front of the minivan, causing him mild injuries. Then, the incompetent wannabe robbers recklessly drive away, causing car accidents as they flee the scene. Chaz is outraged that these two failed to retrieve the books. But it's not all bad. At least they got a few less valuable books in their backpacks, so it wasn't a total waste. Meanwhile, Spencer leaves the roof and walks away, observing the police arriving at the scene. He has nothing to worry about, as he wasn't involved in the heist itself. Thinking the police will be looking for the 3 guys in a gray van, Chaz throws Warren and Eric out of the car, promising to pick them up later. They quickly change clothes and leave on foot, not waiting for Chaz. The group later gets together and listens to the news coverage of their heist while driving to New York to get the authentication for the books that they have. They talk to the appraiser, and she understandably gets suspicious that the 2 teenagers would be in possession of the extremely rare and expensive books. The appraiser tells them that only her boss can do the authentication of the books, and he is out, so they will have to return tomorrow. They leave her a number to contact them and depart. For some reason, they left her Spencer's cell number, and he of course forgot it in Kentucky. And that cell has a message on it that clearly indicates that Spencer is a bratty kid, not an art dealer. Hearing all this, Chaz starts cursing everyone in the car for the unbelievable level of stupidity he has to deal with. At this point, he realizes that these idiots are sending him to jail, so he gets a gun and starts threatening them. Heartbroken, he loses the gun and tells them to do what they want. It's over anyway. They drive back to Lexington with the books, horrified by the dreadful consequences that might await them soon. Spencer gets out and says goodbye to the rest of the group. They go back to their normal lives, deciding to lay low for a while. Real-life Eric Borsuk reminisces about how guilty he felt at the time, remembering the terrifying screams of the old librarian lady they tied up during the heist. The feeling of guilt was overwhelming. Real-life Warren Lipka admits he never wanted her to get hurt, and it brings him great pain now, realizing what they did that day. Days go by as members of the group go on with their lives, rethinking what they've done. They each deal with the frustration in their own way. Chaz works out. Spencer has a drink in the bar. Annoyed by the jocks pushing him, he starts a fight with them. Warren tries to shoplift in the supermarket but fails. A security guard chases him, but stops after Warren throws away the item and dares him to chase him. Spencer drives at night in the rain and gets into a car accident. He opens the door and just leaves the scene of the accident. The wannabe robbers left a huge trail of evidence leading to them, so, as was to be expected, the FBI agents break into their houses at night when they're asleep, arresting all 4 robbers and recovering the 2 books they still had in their possession. All 4 were subsequently sentenced to 7 years of incarceration. In the closing part of the movie, the real-life robbers express their deepest regret about the pain they caused to their families and to the librarian woman. After being released from prison, they went their separate ways. Eric Borsuk is a writer and lives in California. Chaz Allen lives in Los Angeles. He's a fitness instructor and works on a book about prison workout regimes. Warren Lipka lives in Philadelphia, where he is re-enrolled in college and is studying filmmaking. Spencer Reinhard still lives in Lexington, Kentucky, where he works as an artist. He specializes in paintings of birds. Betty Jean Gooch, the real librarian, still works at Transylvania University Library, taking care of the very same books the group tried to steal. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more.